After the phenomenon we know as Star Wars filled cinemas from 1977 to 1983 with the original trilogy movies of A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi, Star Wars audiences were left wanting more by fans like myself, but had to wait 16 years before another Star Wars trilogy was released by Lucasfilm. However, in the wake of Return of the Jedi, Star Wars reached its 10-year anniversary, and a company called West End Games published a Star Wars role-playing game, which was accompanied by a Star Wars sourcebook in 1987. The first Star Wars sourcebook was one of many Star Wars role-playing games, including a sourcebook publication, which provided expanded universe information detailing the epic story's environment, as the movies were just the tip of the iceberg. These publications are what now is classed as Legends material by Disney, but of course these form the original Star Wars expanded universe. In 1991, West End Games worked intently with Lucasfilm to set out the vision for what may have happened in the events that took place in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi. A number of Star Wars best-selling novels were published, including a trilogy of books written by Timothy Zahn, who gave us the brilliant story entitled Heir to the Empire. Although the first three titles, Heir to the Empire encapsulates the essence of what it's all about. The return to the known galaxy by the most dangerous imperial leader the Empire has left to lead a retaliation effort against the New Republic. The sourcebook highlights the background elements so that readers can understand the greater detail about the state of the Star Wars galaxy, its characters, their starships and weapons, as well as many other interesting elements. Put it simply, West End Games sourcebooks are a goldmine of Star Wars lore information. In this case, the Heir to the Empire was set in 9 ABY, and 5 years after the Empire's defeat at the Battle of Endor, at the end of Return of the Jedi. The Empire's territory has shrunk to a quarter of what it once controlled. What remains are many self-proclaimed imperial warlords, scrambling for what territory they had left, with no coordinated effort to reunite them against the New Republic. The former Galactic Empire is dying. The story of this novel introduces brand new characters, to name a few, including Jurus Sabayoth, Talon Card, Mara Jade, Grand Admiral Thrawn and Captain Pellaeon. But what exactly does the Heir to the Empire sourcebook cover? Well, the contents page shows an introduction and a prologue section, as well as 9 chapters on a wide range of topics. For this video, I'll be focusing on Chapter 3, Remnants of the Empire, but as you can see in the list, over 100 pages describe a varied array of subjects. The introduction sets out some of the history for the reason to how the sourcebooks were created, and leads into the specifics of what Heir to the Empire is about in relation to the original trilogy. Moving on to the prologue, entitled Between Jedi and Heir, retraces the narrative details of the original trilogy and into the aftermath of the Battle of Endor, and the ensuing chaos inflicted on the Empire after Emperor Palpatine's death. But with the Empire splintered into a dysfunctional mob of power-hungry Imperials, this section mentions the rise of a cunning and forgotten Grand Admiral known as Thrawn. The next couple of pages cover the New Republic's signed declaration and their reasoning behind the forging of the new galactic government. Chapters 1 to 9 covers a wide range of subjects including the New Republic, the Force, Remnants of the Empire, the Fringe, the planets, aliens, equipment, vehicles and finally starships. But it's the Remnants of the Empire which always really intrigues me about this story when I read the novel back in the 1990s. The details contained in this story were part of the earliest glimpses we had into what happened to the Empire after the events of Return of the Jedi. The chapter provides more context on the state of the fragmented Empire, who Thrawn is, and the objectives for defeating the New Republic. The background insight contained in A Grand Admiral Returns provides the original narrative to how Thrawn returned to the known galaxy, as opposed to Disney's Ahsoka series. As Captain Pellaeon stands on the bridge of the Chimera, wondering how the Empire can regain some of its former glory, an encrypted message is received bypassing all usual communication sensors. The message was sent through the Emperor's private holopod comms unit, and had been installed in every Imperial-class Star Destroyer during Palpatine's reign, to provide direct orders to trusted individuals where necessary. When reported to Pellaeon, the captain realised instantly this particular encrypted holopod alert were only previously used by Emperor Palpatine himself. This holopod signal sent a shiver down the captain's spine as he stared for a moment at the priority screen. Stepping into the holopod to receive the message, Pellaeon kneeled before the pod, expecting to see the Emperor's grim visage appear in a holographic form above his head. Instead, he was greeted by a blue-skinned humanoid with powerful features and glowing red eyes. Those eyes seemed to bore into him, taking the measure of the man with burning intensity, but it was the voice that convinced Pelion that this man was a high-ranking imperial. His voice was not loud, but was strong, and vibrated with the tones of command. "I am Grand Admiral Thrawn," the hologram informed him. "I have been away, but now I have returned. I know some of what has occurred. You will fill in the details of the rest when I come aboard. Rejoice, Captain, the Empire will rise again. You will find astrogation coordinates that have been encoded with this transmission. I await your arrival." And now Pelion was waiting on the frontier for the Grand Admiral to arrive. His fears and concerns were gone. Now there was just the thrill of glories past and the promise of glories to come, personified in a Grand Admiral named Thrawn, and carried aboard a shuttle flying out of the unknown into the Chimera's hangar bays. This passage, of course, from the Sourcebooks chapter is the true return of Thrawn from Timothy Zahn's original novels. Further sections covered from the chapter are Captain Pelion's character, plus a small section on Stormtrooper variants. However, it's Grand Admiral Thrawn's armada which provides the arrangement of his Imperial warships, also known as the 7th Fleet, which is interesting insight to Thrawn's early fleet as he looks to build his campaign against the New Republic. From looking at the Sourcebook's picture of the core ships, the most noticeable starships are the Imperial-class Star Destroyers, of which 5 are named, including the Stormhawk, Nemesis, Thrawn's flagship the Chimera, Death's Head, and the Inexorable. However, the Judicator appears to be missing, even though it's mentioned in the text, and another SD is the Relentless. The second sourcebook of Timothy Zahn's trilogy is Dark Force Rising, and introduces new Imperial characters in Chapter 3, Remnants of the Empire, and did not appear in the first sourcebook, Heir to the Empire. The first section, Dark History, taps into the story as told by the first novel, Heir to the Empire, which describes the state of the galaxy while the resurgent Empire are turning the tide on the New Republic's grip on the tactical targeted territory. Chapter 1, from the New Republic's point of view, describes the growing threat from a better organised and better equipped Empire. Reports of an Imperial Grand Admiral leading the Empire is concerning to the New Republic leaders, and given they were known for the fanatical loyalty to the Emperor, Thrawn is clearly provided a new direction and purpose to his Imperial forces. In addition, the Grand Admiral has made an uneasy deal with the former and slightly unhinged Jedi Master, Jura Sabayoth, to ensure his help in Thrawn's war against the New Republic. With the Dark Jedi to aid him, Thrawn believes he can defeat the rebellion and restore the glory of the Emperor's new order. To secure the Dark Jedi's cooperation, Thrawn has promised him new Jedi to mould and change. He has also promised him Luke Skywalker. Additionally, Thrawn has secured access to one of the former Emperor's storehouses, situated on the outer rim world of Wayland, inside a facility known as Mount Tantis. In the storehouse, Thrawn has discovered items of technology which he could use to secure his much-needed starships and troopers. The items discovered included a working cloaking shield and Spartai clone cylinders. The Empire previously made cloaking technology a priority effort. The Emperor diverted vast sums of money and resources to the cloaking project, ordering scientists and technicians to succeed by the time of the second Death Star was completed, instructing the best Imperial engineers, but in some cases soliciting private companies to work on small portions of the cloaking systems. The project had commenced. There were also a number of Spartai clone cylinders. These cloning cylinders were 4-meter tall tanks that acted as mechanical wombs filled with nutrient chemicals and organic catalyzers used for the creation of personal clone armies by those wealthy and well connected enough to acquire them. In Chapter 3, there are various new Imperial characters introduced. The first character covered by the Dark Force Rising sourcebook is General Cavell. A former understudy to General Veers, Cavell had become an experienced Imperial military army officer and served as Veers' first officer at the Battle of Hoth. General Cavell leads the Chimera's ground forces and longs to meet the challenge of winning the day for the Empire. Another new character is Captain Brandi, who commands the Imperial Star Destroyer Judicator as part of Thrawn's Navy fleet. Like Pelion, Brandi was a survivor of the Battle of Endor, a tactical astute officer who worked hard to rise to his position in the Imperial Navy, and believes the Empire is ultimately superior to the rebels. Brandi is cautious in battle and will only press the attack when the odds are with him, but he will not sacrifice himself and his ship. To live and fight another day is more important than dying spectacularly in a lost cause. To Brandi, losing a battle is not significant compared to winning the war. Captain Dorja commands the Imperial Star Destroyer Relentless, another cautious commander in battle and reluctant to engage the enemy in direct combat. Dorja is traditionally from a family that has an Imperial and Old Republic military navy background. Due to his devotion to the Empire's new order, Dorja dislikes the fact that Thrawn is a non-human and is leading the Imperial remnant. A couple of new minor Imperial characters are Lieutenant Kreb, who is the Chimera's top pilot, and is the commander of Blackwing Squadron. He is known for taking too many risks, but his success record cannot be denied. Corporal Turkus is an assault trooper under the command of General Cavell. He is dedicated to the Imperial cause and believes the Empire are the right force to bring order to the galaxy. Turkus has become one of Cavell's top soldiers. The chapter also describes how Imperial intelligence operates under the Imperial remnant since the Empire's fall. The third sourcebook of Timothy Zahn's third novel, The Last Command, continues to provide details on many subjects, including updates on the main characters, as well as continues to further introduce some new characters, locations and vehicles. The chapters of special note provide information, of course, on the Empire, but also on Mount Tantus and the Noghray, but there is also an interesting afterword page on the Empire towards the end of the sourcebook. But let's cover the introduction of the new minor Imperial characters. Major Molo Himron was one of the Empire's top intelligence operatives, who was totally loyal to the Imperials, and who blended into any type of social situation. In the service of Grand Admiral Thrawn's forces around 9 ABY, Himron was assigned to the Imperial army as the leader of an assault force to Coruscant, to capture Leia Organa Solo and her children. However, Himron's mission failed due to Mara Jade. Fingal was a personal aide to the governor of Pakest. Another Imperial agent, Fingal too joined Thrawn to inform the Grand Admiral of the governor's contacts with his enemies Talon Karrde and Luke Skywalker. Lieutenant Mithel was a young officer on board Thrawn's flagship, the Chimera. As a weapons technician but specialising on tractor-beam systems, he devised a new tactic which caught the attention of Thrawn, who duly promoted Mithel from ensign to lieutenant. Mithel was a dedicated and energetic Imperial who Thrawn wanted to cultivate towards building his new empire. Other new Imperial army characters introduced were General Drost, Colonel Zelad and Lieutenant Kosk. For more Imperial Explained videos, please give a like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and as always, long live the Empire.